Hello everyone, Giltar here with part 2 of my review of the 1:144 scale high-grade 00 Gundam 7 Sword G model kit. Now there are two things I want to point out, and then we'll head into the pros and cons. The first point is that the GN Swords 2, both long and short blades, have a cylindrical peg on the side which can connect to a circular port on the side skirt. And also it comes with a pair of GN beam sabers. You get both the hilt and the clear beam effect parts. The other GN beam saber hilt is actually attached to the back skirt at this time. There are 4 ports in total for positioning. You either have one or both on the bottom ports, or there's ports on the either side of the back skirt. So you have some variety for basically placement of GN beam saber hilts. Now that being said, let's head into the pros and cons. And I really only have one con for this model kit, and to be honest, they are quite relatively insignificant, but something I want to point out just for consideration. The model does have a few points of weakness or looseness of joints. There's a weak wrist joint construction, weak side skirts, and there is a weak connection in the GN Sword 2 blaster to the GN drive binder at the shoulder. Starting off with the wrists, they actually support the weight of normal weapons fine. It's just that once you move into the large GN Buster Sword 2 or GN Sword 2 blaster weapons, they just can't support the weight of the weapon, and the wrists will droop. However, with the strong elbow and shoulder joints, that's not really a problem. You can actually hold up the weapons with no issues. It's just that if you don't like the look of a sort of bent wrist, then I guess that'll be a problem for you. The side skirts are pretty weak. In fact, they are on ball joints that connect to the waist. And as you can see here, it can't support the weight of the GN Sword 2 long blade. It can't support the weight, so it droops and falls onto the ground. And finally, the GN Sword 2 blaster, the peg that you use to connect to the GN drive binder at the shoulder there, the peg seems to be slightly too small for the port, so it doesn't hold in that tightly. It doesn't just simply fall out. I mean, it's fine. It's just that if you bump into it, it might knock it loose by accident. Now, the side skirt and the GN Sword 2 blaster problems can be fixed simply either by painting the model kit parts, and you'll just bulk up the peg, or if you don't want to paint, then simply just apply a thin layer of nail polish to the peg, and once it cures and dries, then you'll have a peg that should fit more snugly into the port. The one part you can't easily fix would be the wrist joint connections. You'll have to do some modifying of the wrist joint parts essentially, and to be honest, on a personal level, I don't mind the weakness in those parts because they're either fixable, like at the skirt or at the shoulder, or in the term, with respect to the wrists here, it makes sense to me that they can't hold up these large weapons, and it's totally understandable for those wrist joints to sort of bend under the, or rather move under the weight of the object here. So with that being said, let's go into the pros, and I do have a few things to list. First of all, it's a well-engineered model kit. I mean, a lot of people have given it praise, and it wasn't until I got this model kit that I really fully understood what they were talking about. I mean, I could understand the wide range of articulation and the multiple points of articulation, but some things you don't know until you experience it firsthand. And in this case, once I experienced the high-grade 00 Gundam model kit, I mean, I wish I bought this sooner, to be honest. Any version of it, because it's such a spectacular and great, well-engineered model that I'm honestly blown away. I think that for 1,000 yen for the basic 00 Gundam high-grade kit, you're definitely getting a steal. For 1,600 yen, in which you're getting the same model but with all these extra accessories, it's definitely worth the money. I mean, I would say it's pretty much a steal as well at this price point of 1,600 yen. Because not only are you getting a great model kit in the 00 Gundam, but you're also getting all these interesting extra accessories. I mean, you're getting 2 GN Katars, you're getting 2 GN Beam Sabers, GN Sword 2 Long, GN Sword 2 Short, that has an extendable tip accessory. You're getting a GN Buster Sword 2, and a GN Sword 2 Blaster. So, combined with the wide range of articulation, and the many pieces of accessories, those two combined results in a model kit that has a lot of potential for display value. And for me, that's what a model kit is for. It's for display, and I think the 00 Gundam 7 Sword G really stands out in my collection in a very good way. And you know what, another thing to mention is that for all the points of articulation, the model kit is overall a very solid and stable model. Most of the joints are very tight and secure, and I really appreciate that because I know it'll be something that can last a good while if it ever, if it ever loosens up, it'll be no problem to just try to tighten up the joints. But with the secure construction of all the different, the ankle, knee, hip, waist, shoulder, elbow joints, even the GN drive binders here have a very secure joints there, very tight. Everything's just simply stable and solid, and it's pretty impressive considering all the different points that have potential for sort of looseness. So despite the few loose or weak points I mentioned earlier, like the side skirts, I mean, those are very minor in the face of the all the other parts of the model that are very strong. Another thing to mention is that there are some people who don't like seeing so many 00 Gundam variations, especially in the high grade line. I mean, there's the 00 Gundam, then the O Riser that comes with it, and you can get the 00 Riser in GN Sword 3, and then you can get the Trans Am version, and then you can get the Designer's version, Designer's Colors version, and now you have the 7 Sword G version. And like a lot of people are like, I'm just fed up with 00 Gundam. I don't want to see that design anymore. And I can understand that, but I would say this. For such an exceptionally engineered and designed model kit, it's better to have several of these than a couple of other sort of recycled and retooled model kits with mediocre designs. I mean, at least if we're going to get something shoved down our throats, at least let it be a high quality product, which I think the 00 Gundam high grade model is. So overall, I do recommend this model kit wholeheartedly. If you don't have a 00 Gundam high grade yet, you can't go wrong with getting this one. I personally wish I got this sooner, and I am considering getting another variation of the 00 Gundam in the high grade line, just to have more than one. I might even get a duplicate of one of them so that I will paint it in a different color scheme at some point in the future, because I really enjoy this model kit, and I think it's really, really inexpensive for what you get. I wouldn't hesitate to simply buy the 00 Gundam high grade, just the first version, with just the 2 GN Swords 2 and no beam saber blades and really basic. But I mean, I really like this model kit, and I can't say enough good things about it. Another thing I will note as well while we're here is that the 00 Gundam, I know a lot of people also sort of criticize the largeness of the Buster Sword and GN Sword 2 blaster, and it's really over the top, and it evokes images of Cloud Strife from Final Fantasy, or Squall from Final Fantasy VIII with the huge swords. But I think with the two large weapons on the 00 Gundam 7 Sword G, it actually works. It balances out. If we were only to get one of them rather than both, it would be kind of odd. But with both of them in the model kit, they provide both a physical balancing, where they actually literally balance out the model, so it's not unbalanced and it will fall over. But also visually, it balances out too, with both sides being kind of like wing-like structures. And like I said in part 1, I feel that the placement of the GN Katars on the lower leg, while they kind of may look awkward to some people, I think it also lends a visual balance in that it doesn't make it look so top-heavy. It actually bulks up the lower legs. So I guess that's all I have to say about this model kit. Again, I definitely recommend it. At 1,600 yen, it's definitely a steal, and most places are selling this at a cheaper price. So if you do come across it and you don't have a 00 Gundam high grade kit, I do recommend this one, because you're getting the basic kit plus a whole bunch of extra accessories. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review and got something out of it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.